And I can see Battersea Power Station. I mean, that's a lie from here, of course, but we've all seen Battersea Power Station. It's part of our our collective notion of London, really. If you look over from the correct side of the river, it's on the other side. I'm only kidding, because I'm with two South Londoners for whom Battersea Power Station has clearly played quite a large part in their life, and they've written and photographed quite a large book called An Icon of Our Times, Battersea Power Station. And they are Annie and Steve Grahams. Welcome both of you to BBC London.
Hi there.
Hello.
Why did you want to do this book? What kind of prompted it?
What prompted it? Well,
our daughter was doing a school project and there was no information on it.
What, on Battersea Power Station?
No, not at the time.
Yep.
Bits and bobs.
Online, and that was it. And there was no book.
Right.
So I thought, OK, let's
go and do a book.
As you do.
It started out as a small project. I have to add, this was 8 years ago.
Oh, right. It's taken a while.
Well, like the Battersea Station itself, it's stopped, started, held off. But she actually blagged away in at the time. It was an empty site, and took some photographs. So it was the first time we'd actually seen inside the empty building.
And it is an extraordinary interior,
It's
isn't it?
amazing.
It's amazing. It's just like a skeleton, well, it was then. It still is at the moment inside like that.
And yet bits of it quite well preserved. I mean,
there's a lot of Art Deco still in there. Art Deco ceilings and lights, all the balustrade going up the stairs. Amazing.
Because we tend to think of the chimneys as being the essence somehow of Battersea Power Station.
That's what we all see.
Yeah, but they're just the sort of bits around the edge almost, aren't they,
Yes.
really?
Yes. I mean, the whole edge, the whole exterior of the building is being kept,
Yep.
which is great. That's what everybody knows. That's what everybody sees. Very few people have seen inside. Of course, all the workers that we've been so privileged to meet recently for the book have told their fantastic stories about actually working in the place.
Let's go back to the beginnings. When was it built and why there, and what was the story of it?
It was started, I mean, before Battersea Power Station, all the boroughs had their own small power stations, and there was such a demand for electricity, and it all had to be brought under one body, if you like. And they started to realise that they need to do more than have all these independent power stations running at different levels and not actually very reliable. So the plan was made for a super power station. That was the only available plot they could find.
What had been there before? Do we know?
It was empty. It was empty
Nothing.
land.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was owned by the Water Board at the time, or the Water Authority. So that was there, and they decided that because it was close to London and it would feed London.
Yeah.
Although at the same time people said, but you can't put it that close to a major city, or the major city, you know. So there's a lot of people up in arms at the time.
Who was it built by? Is there an architect who's actually the one person responsible, if you like?
There is indeed, yes.
Yeah.
James Theo Halliday was the actual architect, and Giles Gilbert Scott did the exterior.
Right.
Gilbert Scott's the one who's famed for it.
He's
He was
famed.
brought in really to pretty it up. He's responsible for the exterior.
Because he did Tate Modern as well, didn't he? Which was
He
the
did.
other
The
one,
sister
didn't he?
building. The sister building, yeah.
And the telephone box.
Oh, exactly, yes.
yeah.
Was it a loved building straight away?
No, by no means. When it was first built, nobody liked it at all. They thought it was too big. They thought it was noisy.
Too
they thought
close
it was too
to
close to
Chelsea.
Yeah.
Too close to houses,
Right.
too.
And although that was the initial thing, there's a lot of debate going on in the House of Parliament and so on, but they knew they had to do something, and it carried through. And then eventually, as it took shape, before it opened, as it took shape, people started to get behind it, and the papers actually lauded it at the time as the new Temple of Power, is what they called it.
I mean, it wouldn't be out of place in sort of one's notion of Stalin's Moscow or something, would it? It's on that sort of huge, kind of slightly totalitarian scale,
When
isn't
you
it?
stand in front of it, with it absolutely in front of you at the bottom, you're standing at the bottom of the building. It is massive.
Yeah.
It's the largest brick building in Europe.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's bigger than Tate Modern. So if you stand in front of Tate Modern and do that, it's much bigger,
It's
much more
bigger.
imposing than that itself.
What did it supplied? What electricity to London? That was what it did.
It
Essentially.
supplied 20%
Right.
of all London's electricity.
Right.
At the time, it replaced something like 7 small substations, and was the largest outputter of electricity of its time. So it's a major advance.
Did it employ lots of people? Given that it was this vast site, were there lots of people working there?
Yeah. Hundreds of people working there.
It started off small. It's actually one of the things interesting about it, and some people may know this and may not, but it started as 2 stations. It was
Right.
built in two halves.
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, the reason being that they had to prove that the pollution wouldn't be too bad.
Right.
The chimneys were raised another 30 feet in answer to this.
So it had two chimneys to begin with.
So you had the left-hand side, the side nearest the railway, is Battersea Station A.
Right.
And then 11 years later, once they'd proved that that was fine, they built Battersea Station B and joined the two together.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And for a while, it actually became known as the three-pin plug because it only had three chimneys. Because the fourth chimney wasn't finished till the 50s.
Right. And it went on producing energy until when?
It shut in 75, A station.
Right.
And then B station closed down in 83.
83.
So the last time it was a functioning
Yeah.
power station was 83.
It was, although actually it did carry on as a relay station, and it actually finished its function. I mean, it was not producing power, but relaying power in the 90s.
Was
and
it?
there were still guys working there under tarpaulins doing megawatts together.
Really?
So,
Seriously?
Yeah,
seriously.
Because obviously you've spoken to quite a lot of the people who work there, didn't you?
Yeah,
How did you find them? How did you go about getting
That was hard. We went through one of the old unions
Right.
and put an ad in their paper, and we got one person, then another person. They put us in touch with another person, so we tracked them down all over the country, really, and we ended up interviewing about 20 of them.
And do they have fond memories
Oh
largely?
my goodness, they
Tears in their
love
eyes.
it.
Really?
They love it. They can't stop talking about it. I mean, I would get phone calls from these very lovely gentlemen, and they'd be just chatting away for such a long time. All their memories started coming back, and they couldn't wait to have their story told.
And was it largely people from Battersea who worked in Battersea Power Station? do you think?
No, it wasn't. I mean, obviously there were some that worked locally, but people come from your side of the track, North London.
All the way over there.
So it's engineers basically and their apprentices.
What do you think of what they're doing with it?
After all the years of it starting and not being finished and then
Because
being
it was
left,
at one point it was going to be a fun fair, wasn't it? And then there was a Japanese something
Yeah,
or other,
yeah,
and
it
was-
I remember
I mean-
Margaret
Mad,
Thatcher
mad
shaking hands with people. And
John Broome from Alton Towers. Some of the plans were just crazy. What we got now is a compromise, I guess. Some people say it spoils it, but I think it's a rebirth, if you like, and at least it's still there. The things are a bit close, the other buildings, but I think it's going to regenerate the area completely.
will you be able to afford a flat in it?
No way.
Not unless we sell an awful lot of books. No.
Because I mean, it's good. They're going to be very expensive apartments. In there,
I think they
aren't
should give us one.
And they're building a tube link to it, aren't they?
They
Yeah,
are.
there's a new tube line going extension from Kennington.
Also, isn't there a tunnel that took power over to the
Other side. There's
to the
three
other-
tunnels, actually.
3 tunnels?
Yeah, there's 3 tunnels. Yeah,
Yeah.
that takes the power. It's full of cables.
You didn't
Yeah.
get to go down there.
No,
did you?
I wish.
No, we know somebody who
No.
did.
Oh,
And
really?
we got pictures of it. Yeah.
I did get to go into the station uninvited, though, one evening.
What snuck
Yes, I
in?
Snuck in.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
I stayed outside just in case he needed help.
You were there ready to do a runner. That was right.
But I didn't go down the cable tunnels.
Well, it's a fascinating book. It's Battersea Power Station, an icon of our times, and it's a large photographic book, but also with many of the words and the stories of the people who work there and the story of the building itself, which is, I think, one of those kind of great. I think we all, even if you don't like it, you love it.
Yeah,
if you know
it's
what I
true.
mean, it's
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
I
it's
think
that
so.
sort of building, isn't it? Really, and it's ours, and it's there in a book published by Graham and Graham and put together by Annie and Steve Grahams. Thank you both very, very much.